Hi everyone, I hope everyone is okay. In this recording, I'd like to cover sociological imagination. So if you listened to the first recording, we talked about sociology and introduced what sociology is. And I did mention that sociological imagination is one of the notions that we adopt as sociologists. So we adopt the sociological imagination to help us conduct our findings and to help us understand societies as well. So in our study of understanding societies and social interactions, we adopt this notion by C. Wright Mills, which is the sociological imagination. So what I wanted to do with you guys, or to cover in this recording, is obviously introducing the sociological imagination to you, distinguishing between personal troubles and social problems or social issues, give you examples, and conclude the idea or the notion of sociological imagination by C. Wright Mills. So, sociological imagination can also be called the sociological lens or the sociological perspective. And what the sociological imagination is the capacity to see an individual's personal or private troubles in the context of broader social issues. So before we even get into understanding what the definition of sociological imagination is, we should distinguish between private troubles and social troubles or social issues. So when we're talking about personal troubles, we refer to a problem affecting individuals that the affected individual as well as other members of society typically blame on the individual's own personal and moral failings. So personal troubles refer to any problem that affects an individual, that's the individual themselves as well as other members in society typically blame on themselves and their own personal and moral failings. So whatever issues that a person themselves cannot do not want to change but have the ability to change, that is their personal trouble. And when we're talking about public issues or social issues, we're talking about issues that lie within the social structure and culture of society, and this is an issue or problem that affects many individuals within that society. So when we are talking about public issues, these are issues that cannot be changed by individuals, whereas personal issues are issues that can be changed by individuals. So examples that I have thought of that I could give you are unemployment in South Africa. If you were to look at the unemployment rate in South Africa, you'll see that it is high, right? And because it is high, the issues of people being unemployed cannot be changed by themselves, cannot be changed by the people that are employed, because these are issues that lie within the broader social context. These are issues that could involve the scarcity of jobs in South Africa, issues that pertain to the economy of our country, for example. So these are issues that are within or that lie within the social structure that cannot be changed by the individuals who are affected by it. So those are public issues, and poverty as well is also a public issue, because the people who are affected by poverty cannot change their circumstances. If they could, they would, but they can't, because it goes back to unemployment. It goes back to so many other issues, such as the economy of South Africa being bad, scarcity of jobs, lack of opportunities, so many different things. Those could be the issues that cause people to be poverty stricken. That's why these are public issues. So unemployment and poverty could be seen as public issues. Yet, if you were to look at obesity, especially in South Africa, it is not seen as a public issue, because these are issues that could that could be changed by the individual who is affected by obesity. So a person who is obese or who is regarded as obese could go on to adopt a different lifestyle, have a change of lifestyle and so on. So that could change their situation. So it doesn't necessarily affect, or even if it affects many people, they still have the ability to change it for themselves. So that is why then it is not a public issue. It is therefore a private issue in South Africa. But if you were to look at obesity in the USA, for example, it is a public issue because of this. These are issues that lie within the social structure. So talking about their foods, the foods that they sell in their different stores are genetically modified. If you were to talk about so many things, there were so many of their processed foods and so on. These are the foods that are available for them in the stores. So which is something that lies within the social structure, in the sense that they cannot change they cannot change their circumstance, some of them because of not having the financial ability to change their situation of obesity. So they go on to these different stores that sell GMO foods, processed foods, and those are the only foods that they can afford. So those are the only foods that are available to them. So that's why they go on to buy those foods, and then the problem of obesity comes in. Whereas most people who are healthy or regarded as healthy in the USA have to go through extra lengths and spend a little more for them to buy organic foods, right? So that goes to show that obesity is a public issue in the USA, but it is not a public issue in South Africa, because most people who are affected by obesity in South Africa have the ability to change their circumstance by adopting a different lifestyle and not eating more processed foods and so on, because we still have the privilege of having some organic foods in our stores that are being sold and so on, that are not as expensive as those compared to the USA. So that is why in South Africa, obesity is not a public issue, but it is a public issue in the USA. So with that being said, I'm just giving you an example to show that public issues might be different in different societies. So what we see as public issue in South Africa might be different in other countries and in other societies. So the ability to see your own private issues within the public or the broader public spectrum, or rather the broader public society, that goes to show that that is what you have adopted. You have adopted the sociological imagination. So when we're talking about the sociological imagination, it is just the ability to see your own problems in the context of broader social issues. So your own issues probably of being unemployed could be seen within the context of the broader social issue, because the South Africa in itself has a high unemployment rate, right? And yeah, there's scarcity of jobs, lack of opportunities, and so on. So that is why it's a public issue. Load shedding as well is a public issue, and so on. So that is what the sociological imagination is: the ability to see your problems within the context, or rather in the context of broader social issues. And these are the examples that I've given of unemployment in South Africa being a public issue, poverty in South Africa being a public issue, because these are things that cannot be changed by the individuals who are affected by it. But obesity in South Africa, it is seen as a private issue, because the people affected by obesity still have the ability to change their circumstances. So that is why it is a private issue. So the ability to see a person's troubles or problems in the context of a public issue. That is what we refer to as sociological imagination. So that is it from me. In the next recording, we are going to be covering Auguste Comte, who is the father of sociology. So if you want to hear that, please stay tuned for the next recording. Bye, guys.